So I went ahead and sanded down all the parts. So this is the rear valance here, and this is our front splitter. Now the front splitter, I believe, needs to be cut. We've got to mock it up again, but we want to go ahead and get all of this primed up so that it can cure, dry, and then we can wet sand it with some smooth sandpaper, and then hit it with our red, and then hit it with our clear. So stay tuned, guys. I didn't want to bore you on all this sanding. I'm going to wash all this down, clean it really good, hit it with some primer, and then we'll talk about what we're going to do after that. So after sanding down each part, I found areas that needed to be filled and filled them with Bondo and sanded those down smooth. Then we moved on to priming each part. After allowing the primer to cure for a few hours, I went ahead and wet sanded all the panels using 600 grit wet sandpaper. Then I cleaned it back down and set it up to paint, which we're going to be doing now. So now that we've laid down our 3 nice wet coats of paint, we're going to move on to what might be the most important part of what we're doing, probably outside of prep work. And that is adding a high quality clear coat to this great paint job. So as long as you can get your layers to lay down nicely with the paint, you can then go on to adding a very high quality clear coat that you can pick up on Amazon and have it pretty quickly. And this is going to give you that professional look. This is what auto body shops use, obviously not in a can, but it comes in a can. And what you have to do is snap that bottom with the piece that comes up top here, which I have in the other room. And you got to make sure you mix it in really well, and then you got to use this pretty quickly. So I think you got about 48 hours to use the can before it's completely got to be tossed away. But this is going to give you a professional looking finish. A lot of people confuse this with I think Rustoleum sells like a 2X clear, which is not the same. That's just telling you that it covers 2 times the amount of coverage, but it's still a 1K clear versus a 2K clear. Make sure you do your research before doing this, but if you look up this brand, Spray Max 2K clear, I've used it many times. Comes out absolutely amazing. I've used it on rims, which we will be using. It's about $25 a bottle. The more you buy, usually the more you save. All right, let's get over there and get putting this down so we can have an awesome final product. Well guys, I got some bad news. This is the next day, and I'm going to show you guys what happened to these 2 pieces over here. Of course, I could have edited this out, sanded these down, and uploaded this video in a couple of weeks when I could actually prepare this properly. So what happened was I had ordered in clear coat, thought it was coming in within the next hour or 2 because Amazon's usually at our house by noon, and it was already 1 o'clock. So I went ahead and hit these with a couple of coats, and they didn't show up till 9:15 p.m. So I tried to get this clear coat on, and I think it was just too late in the day. So if I would have just let this fully cure, we wouldn't have had an issue either, because I even tested it on the panel that we tested the color on, which was done about a week ago. So that did not have this effect. I wanted to make sure it wasn't a defective can, which it wasn't, because like I said, I already tested it out. So what happened here was it just reacted, and this is the clear coat kind of bubbling up. So what I'm gonna have to do is let this fully cure. So I'm trying to let it sit in the sun, even though no sun today, and give it a few days, maybe a week. Go ahead and wet sand all this back down and hit it again with the clear coat, and hopefully that'll be good. But moving on, we did not paint the front lip yesterday because I knew I had to mock it up and figure out exactly how this thing goes on. Cut some of it off, I believe, which is what I'm about to do, is mark that, and then figure out how I'm going to mount this and make sure I'm painting enough of the front lip so that it all looks good. So this is how I mocked it up, and I really like how it's sitting. And if you come over here, this is going to be a little bit longer than it should, so I went ahead and marked that. I'm going to equally mark the other side so we can line everything up. I do have a slight overhang here, so I think once we get everything mounted up, I can kind of pull some of this in, pull some of this out, and try to make it line up a little bit better, because if you look down in here, this bumper was obviously banged into some things and probably skewed it off a little bit, but not a big deal. I think it's going to look really, really good. I like how far out it is. It gives it a really aggressive look. And I think color matching it is just going to make it blend in a little bit more instead of sticking out like a sore thumb if it's a little bit off. So let's go ahead, finish prepping this piece, cut it, paint it, and clear coat it, and I can get it on before the end of this episode. Alright guys, so we're looking at about a week later, and I was really hoping that this 2K clear had ample time to fully harden so that we don't scrape it up. Unfortunately, I scratched on that side. I'll show you in a second, but I did want to mention, in case I did not mention it before, I'm sure I'm going to post it on the video, I accidentally ordered the one for a turbo. I was jumping around from site to site trying to find the one I really wanted and the best price, and I was a little anxious. It was late at night, and I went ahead and placed the order with what I had in the cart, and unfortunately I added the turbo one to the cart. Now, it's not a whole lot different, but it is different, and it doesn't line up perfectly, but I am starting to figure out how I can clip these in, and I'm going to show you guys, and it's going to be a very difficult task, but it will work. And then I had to go ahead and put the stock shield back under there, so then we can bolt this to that stock shield or screw it in, or however we're going to do it. So what I came up with is there's a small lip around this whole entire original bumper edge, and I was able to open up these clips here, slide them on along where the holes are on this actual front lip piece. If you look along there, there's holes drilled. Then I'm going to take screws and go right up into these, and that should secure it all the way around, and then I can get it really secured up under there. Now if I hit something, it's probably going to come right off. Let me show you real quick. I've got some scrapes here, unfortunately, so we're going to have to repaint some of this. And I did not mention this yet, but I had accidentally dropped this the day that I painted it, and I had to touch up and re-hit with the clear, so there is some overspray that we need to go ahead and wet sand once this thing is fully cured, and then we can polish that out. So I might end up touching all this up once we get this fully on, and then hitting it again and then allowing it to dry, because if you guys don't remember, we actually got the front bumper here, and it's not a perfect match, but I think I can blend that and hit that with the 2K clear as well too. So it's all a fun project. Once I get this on, then we'll go to the next step. So stay tuned. I'm going to show you guys how I'm clipping these in, screwing them in, and then hopefully we'll have this whole thing on today. Okay guys, it is on there and it is solid. This thing is going nowhere, but unfortunately attempting to get it screwed into some solid points. So right behind here is a heavy duty plastic bracket that comes down that normally the bumper attaches to. Tried to screw up the fiberglass into it and just miss, unfortunately. The downside to trying to do this yourself versus having somebody guiding you or just taking your time. Now, I wish I would have taken a little more time because unfortunately I made the exact same mistake over here, and this one was 100% because I thought I was pressing while screwing in and I was trying to get it from one side to the other, and unfortunately I just missed it. So those are the two big mistakes. Other than that, the bumper or the lip looks absolutely amazing in my opinion. The color match is almost spot on. You can barely tell, especially once we get this lower part of the bumper painted with the exact same paint, 2K cleared, all that stuff. And when we do that, we're going to fix up those little tiny mistakes. Of course, along the way, I'm going to get rock chips and all that type of stuff, so we might end up waiting a little bit and then refinishing everything once the weather gets a little bit better. But I am super satisfied. I want to bring it down on the jacks, show you guys how it looks over there in the sun.